How much fraud is too much fraud?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
Do you regret any of the things that you said or any of the things that ActBlue has done in the past in regards to foreign donations?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights.
I want to make sure I'm respectful. Is it Ms. Jones or Ms. Wallace-Jones?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
Well, she was consistent. The CEO of ActBlue, her name is Regina Wallace-Jones, by the way, took the Fifth dozens of times when asked about allegations that the group funneled foreign donations to Democratic campaigns. It would be an enormous scandal. A few months back, the New York Times published a devastating investigation of ActBlue, also accusing the group of misleading Congress. Wow. And here's why it's important. The fundraising powerhouse raised over $1.8 billion for Democratic candidates last year alone. Congressman Jim Jordan, chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, is with us now. Okay. Why is she taking the Fifth? What would be the crime that you all think she may have committed?
Well, her board chairman said $38 million was likely from a foreign contributions. The 5 people who were part of her fraud prevention team were either fired, forced to resign, or resigned. We deposed all 5 of them. They took the Fifth. And as you pointed out, their outside legal counsel told Ms. Wallace-Jones, the response you gave in writing to Congress probably wasn't accurate. You may want to change that. It looks like you knowingly and willingly misled the Congress. And so when you lie to Congress, when all your fraud prevention team takes the Fifth, it's probably a good idea if you're in front of Congress if you take the Fifth as well.
Okay, so we also know other people who have taken the Fifth. I'm thinking of somebody who works about 16 blocks from you as well, or lives there as well. That is not an admission of a crime, is it? You got to prove something, which so far hasn't happened.
No, I don't know that President Trump ever got on the witness stand and exercised the Fifth. He just didn't testify in a criminal proceeding, which you're allowed to do. That's a little different than taking the Fifth. We knew Ms. Wallace-Jones. Well, we suspected yesterday she was going to take the Fifth because her counsel called us and said, instead of me coming in voluntarily, I would like a subpoena. So we sent a subpoena. She came in, and of course, she did what we expected. She took the Fifth. Again, I would. Now, here's the other thing to remember, Leland. The counsel, the outside counsel, Covington Burling's not a Republican law firm here in town. It's a Democrat firm. Their lawyer was Dana Remus. Dana Remus was the former White House counsel for Joe Biden. That's who told her, hey, we think you misled Congress. You might want to correct the record. No, she said, no. I'm going to fire you guys. I'm going to trash you guys. I'm going to go talk to Congress. And then she suddenly changed her mind. Again, I would change my mind, too, if the former Democrat White House counsel is telling you your response to Congress wasn't accurate. Probably a smart idea for her to take the Fifth.
I would just to correct the record, President Trump has invoked the Fifth Amendment hundreds of times. He did so most recently in 2022 in a deposition, but neither here nor there. What proof do we have that she has committed, again, crimes? And the flip side is whether or not this has been done by effectively the same group on the right, which is a group called Win Red. Here is Democrats talking about that today.
Hundreds and hundreds of serious fraud complaints from individual Americans, mostly Republicans, including a lot of elderly Americans and Americans with disabilities who say they've been robbed blind, hoodwinked by Win Red.
Public reporting indicated that Jiajun Jack Zhang, a jet-setting Chinese businessman, used Win Red to illegally send $5,000 to President Trump's campaign, listing a California hotel as his address.
So do both sides do this?
Just to be clear on President Trump, I thought you were talking about at trial in the courtroom that he was on the witness stand and took the Fifth. He did not do that in trial and Fifth. That was my point there. Regarding Win Red, I don't know that the board chairman of Win Red has ever said, oh, it's likely Win Red had $38 million in contributions that came from a foreign source. I don't remember ever hearing that. I don't think that's a fact. I don't think that's been said. And I also don't remember any outside counsel for Win Red calling up or actually sending a memo to the head of WinRed saying, oh, I think you misled Congress when you responded to their questions.
Okay, so what is it that ActBlue was not honest with Congress about? What is it that their fraud department resigned over?
You know, good question. She said in her response to Congress, we had adequate protections. We checked all passport information for any foreign source, any foreign contribution, or anything that could be a foreign, be viewed as a foreign contribution. We checked their passport data. Turned out they didn't do that. Then she said we rooted out all fraud. We had a strong prevention standard in place. We have emails that we've got through our investigation that say they've actually lowered the fraud standards because they wanted to make sure the money kept rolling in. So we have emails from their fraud prevention staff who, again, either resigned, were pushed out, or were fired that say just the opposite of what she conveyed in her response to Congress. And we have their lawyer who said, you might want to correct the record, and she refused to do so.
Yeah, never a good look when the fraud people resign. Congressman Jim Jordan, thank you very much. As always, good conversation.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.